And we are back with the World War III Invitational.
Pretty good game.
Pretty good game, indeed. So the third place match is going to take place right here, right now. It's going to be Liquid's Snute going up against CM Storm's Polt. So that should be a pretty great match in itself. Snute is a pretty good CVT player.
Yeah.
We saw him excel against Kellisor yesterday. However, Polt being the very aggressive player that he is and being as good as he is at dropping all over the place, I think that Snute might have a little bit of trouble potentially against that particular style because he is so Roach Ravager focused.
I think it's gonna come down to the maps and what kind of maps play out. We saw against Kellisor that Snute went for that very safe, lots of spores, a little bit of Ravagers and Queens just to deny those drops and slowly go to Hive. And once Ultras come out, it was really hard for Kellisor to actually make anything happen.
He actually got back into the game.
He
while
did get back into the
out.
game, but
like after Ultras were out was when he got back.
I mean, he is Kellisor.
He is Kellisor.
But I'm just saying, like right now, it's pretty hard for Terrans to get anything done early game because it's either the quick Hive or the mass Roach Ravager push, or it could be the 420 push that the Roach Ravager push that we saw in the second game of that.
Or
series.
it could be a lot of different things because Circuit's a very reactive race. So,
but Ravagers are so good.
Sure.
And Ultras are really good.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. As long as you acknowledge that.
Salty. But yeah. So the first map is actually going to be Arena. And we're just waiting for Snute.
This
who,
is
is now joining the lobby.
the second time we've had this map in this tournament. Just the second, right? It was Destiny versus No. No, it was
Huh?
The Trays versus No
Trainers?
Regrets
Yeah.
versus ZBZ,
Okay.
Custom, and
Oh yeah, okay. So it's third time.
yeah,
Third time.
This is probably the most, besides Central Protocol, the most
it's only been in
uncommon.
mirrors up till
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is going to be the first TVC that we see as well. It's So Snute letting this map go through as a Cirque player, he might have something in mind where he might be aggressive early on with roaches or something
I
along
totally
those lines.
agree.
Basically, because the rush distance on this map is so close by, it makes it so that Muto-Ling compositions are less likely to happen. Now, of course, Muta have a very short rush distance by air, but so do Medivacs, and Muta are usually, there's going to be a timing before Muta come out. That's going to make it relatively easy for the Terran to exploit because if they scout a spider, they can just move out and be in the search
Right
space
there,
right away. So,
right then and there.
yeah,
But
so,
I'm expecting early roaches.
yeah, very early roaches is what I'm expecting from Snute here. So we'll see what ends up happening. The game is ready, and we are actually loading into it right now. And I do wonder what Polt's strategy is going to be here as well.
Whose pick was this? Do you know?
No.
it's Pulse map.
It's Polt's
Okay,
map.
so Polt must have a strategy because he must know that Roach Ravager.
I mean, you have to expect
Yeah.
Roach Ravager here. Like, there's pretty much nothing else.
There is a dirty build though that you can do on this map, but it doesn't look like Polt's gonna go for it right now. But spawning in the top position of Arena, we have Pause.
Indeed.
Yeah, he just tried to.
So we're gonna remake the game so that we can play on the central server, so that Snute doesn't have as big as of a ping disadvantage being as he's playing from Europe and Polt playing from America.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, might as well. Like everything.
He's in Atlanta.
Everything
so
matters.
it's like
everything.
Central's benefit for both of them pretty much.
Yeah.
So just want to give these guys the best.
Yeah, I switched
Want to give you guys the best.
Yeah.
So let's just wait, and we'll jump back into it in just a second.
What map are we on?
Arena. Thanks, cats. See what you
For
started.
what? How dare you fart? You farted again?
No. I don't fart when other people, like, you just don't do it. Like, you hold it, and you go somewhere like, I've never farted in, like...
Inappropriate talk. You've never farted.
No, you cut me off. You
Yeah,
cut me
I'm
off.
sure. I've never farted, he said. So he's the only human being that's probably never farted, and that's
Thanks, Kat.
disgusting.
Thanks.
Taylor, unbelievable, really. So you're basically like King Jong Il. All right.
Did you
So,
say yours?
Hmm?
We thought it was only the lobby host, but it wasn't. Mine was set to central, so you can just set yours to central,
okay.
just in case.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Go. What? What's
You're
going
like
on
just
out there?
tabbing through the chats. It was just really humorous to
true.
watch.
Oh, thank you very much.
And by the way, guys, thanks for staying up or waking up for us. It's pretty fun tournament so far, and it's only gonna get better.
I think so, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. Of course, enjoying the cast as well. I'm joined by XKawayan on Twitter,
Team Exile 5.
Team Exile 5.
Go give them a follow. If you're not gonna follow me, you should at least follow them because they're great guys, just like the Root guys, for the most
Right.
part. Okay, so spawning.
For the most part, as we house them. Okay, like we'll see.
Spawning
we'll see
in
if
the
you have
bottom position, representing Team Liquid, it is the Blue Zerg player, it is Snute. And spawning in the top position, we have, representing CM Storm, Captain America himself, it is Polt.
And spawning with no bed and outside of the house tonight is XKawayan sitting next to me.
So this was Polt's map, and so he must have a strategy for it, because he's got to expect what the Zerg player is going to do. We were just talking about that. Do you think Snute will go for the early roaches? I mean, he's not even going for early pull, so that might cross it out. He's going hatch gas pull. We might see early roaches.
I think we will. I think we have to, right?
Yeah.
Like, what else can you do here? It's just like maybe a Ling Bane bust or something along those lines could work, especially if he anticipates that Polt could be going for a tank and he can catch him before, without Hellions, for example. So that could be an opener for or an opening that Snute could find. Polt already positioning his barracks to make a reactor after the first Reaper potentially. So we'll see how this pans out. And he's actually just taking a command center, a very confident opener by him,
He's got it like a lot of the Terrans nowadays have been trying to skip Hellions, and I think he might skip Hellions on this map. Just getting a tank is just a lot better off, because you can actually wall off that natural, like half wall off from the command center downward with just a bunker and a depot. So it's a really nice strategic positioning. But I don't know why the Reaper Scout. I guess
Can you
really?
can you just one bunker and one depot will
I think it's too deep. I think it's too deep at one bunker.
Oh, okay.
But I'm surprised he actually went for Reaper. Because maybe it's just his comfort zone.
Well, it's just so close.
Yeah, I mean, might as well use the SCV, right? Like,
maybe, but I mean, look at this. It's pretty much already paid for itself, I would say.
yeah, he sees
It's
the
a lot
gas
of
timing.
denied mining, and like you said, sees the gas timing. It forces out links that otherwise may not come out. So yeah, I don't mind it at all. And again, like Snute has to try something different on this map, right? Like you can't just play standard on this map. I don't think so. I think it's good. The Reaper will get used throughout the game and not just at the very start.
Now, we will have to keep a close look at this Overlord above Polt's base. It's going to a location that is like a forgotten corner of the Terran's main. It could be a potential Nidus. And as we see, that is a really quick Roach Warren. And he did go for Hatch Gas Pull, so this is the same build he did against Kelazero in Game 2 on Orbital Shipyard.
Yeah, and there's a tech lab being made, I think. Is it on the factory?
It's on the factory. He's going to get tanks. He's not going to go for Hellions.
And this is why I was saying, like, if Snute could have identified this or maybe just switched up the plan of attack, because again, Polt likely has to anticipate and expect roaches on this map, right?
He
Like,
has to.
That's pretty much what the Zerg player almost always has to do. So a way to abuse that would have been if Snute would have just gone for a Ling Bane bust that hits before the tank is out. So that could have been extremely powerful because the counter to Ling Bane busts is Hellions, right?
Yeah.
Like they deal with the links really easily. But with Polt getting the tank as early as he is, I wonder if he's just gonna leapfrog towards Snoot's base while just maybe staying on 2 base and being in a defensive and aggressive position at the same time, which this map will allow for. So.
And Polt is getting that Viking just to clear out the Overlords, just in case if it was a Nidus, because Roach Queen Nidus is still very, very powerful. He's getting that tank on the high ground. I actually would have liked to see that a little bit like in the natural. Like I usually will get 2 tanks, but he's probably confident enough to go into just bio after that. after just having one tank. But no bunker yet, which is actually kind of just... It's kind of concerning, actually, because with no bunker, the Raptors will have free reign, and the tank, like I said, the tank's in the main base.
Yeah, but here's the cool thing about the
wow,
Viking.
he's going in. He's going straight for the tank, and it's going to get taken out. Wow.
Oh, and the tank moved from the main base. I was gonna say that but still, like, nice SCVs around. So
Yeah.
that's gonna deal with that. But what I liked about the tank being on the high ground, and I'm not sure like if he really needed to move it. I guess he didn't want to lose the supply depots for free. But the tank on the high ground was really cool because the Viking took care of the overlords, which would mean that the Zerg doesn't have a way to see and therefore fire at the tank.
But
so.
the scary part is that the tank did get taken out, and he's not making another one, so he's got to use bio. Stem's halfway done, so Snute actually has like timing here to actually get something done before he has to worry
look at the
about.
queens.
Wow, the queens. Yeah, this was just a 2-base push by Snute. Good transfuse, but it's not going to last long. The queen's actually not attacking, and Snoot's just morphing in Ravagers right at the base of Polt. Polt should actually get a bunker, and seeing the queens, he's got to know that this is like pretty aggressive, committed push by Snute. And
Yeah.
the roaches are going up, SCVs are being pulled. Without the Ravagers there to actually deal that AoE the AoE bile shot, it actually makes SCV pulling pretty okay. The bunker is canceled though, so there's actually nothing. He's got to wait for Stem. He's got to evacuate this.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the really cool things in Legacy of the Void is that we can stack up injects. So even though Snute has all his queens here, he probably injected with them before moving out. And that means that, even though he didn't have any queens back at home, he can use
Now,
his queens offensively
If Snute gets,
without the risk.
if he went straight for that tech lab like we saw against the game in Kelazar, he literally went for that tech lab knowing. He could have sniped Stem, and that would have been huge, like almost game ending. But the SCVs are being pulled, and the bio shots haven't really landed on the SCVs, so they didn't take them all out. But with just one medevac with no energy now, Snute just has this game pretty much sealed.
6 SCVs left for Polt
Yeah.
and 33
I mean,
workers for Snute, so
mules
like
are
you
good,
said, it's,
but not-
it's gonna be
not
incredibly
that
hard.
good.
And the Liberator's not gonna do anything against the corrosive bile, but he does spend it, so that's gonna give Polt a little bit
Oh
of a
wow,
chance to
Snute's actually
potentially
going
hold.
to the Liberator zoning area.
That's a great spot for the Liberator. I mean, he's gonna have a lot of trouble. He's gonna have to circumvent around and behind the mineral line of Polt, but at this point in time, Polt is just so far behind. How many workers? 3 workers
Yeah.
left.
And 2
he really
mules.
has to rely on those mules, but Snute smartly taking them down and making Polt's income 0. So this is really tough. The Liberator got taken down as well, so I think it's just gonna be lights out for Polt here, and Snute is gonna take a 1-game lead. Polt microing his heart out, but does it really matter? I don't think so.
No, not at this point. I mean, there's nothing really you can do. If he was on 3 CC, the power of 3 overall commands has always been a comeback story, but he losing that first tank and having no bunker, he really was playing with fire.
Yeah, and Snute is droning up. Not that he needs to. He could just wait and then wait until he has enough units, push across the map, and will likely end up winning. Oh, another CV taken down by that queen. Great focus firing there by Snute. Great prioritizing as well. So, yeah, that's just going to be it. Lights out for Polt in game 1. And Snute taking a decisive game 1 in Polt's map. He was like, okay, you want to play that map? I know how to play it pretty well.
And he was going to go for that Ravager, or he's going to go for the Liberator push after with the tanks. The tank was just a safety measure, but losing that tank right off the bat, I mean, Snute did lose most of his Ravagers, but when that tank was gone, he should have threw down a bunker right away. Especially seeing the queens, it was a little too late.
You know, the setup that you suggested Polt could have, I think would have been a lot better with the tank on the high ground.
Yeah.
And a half wall off with a couple of supply depots and a bunker. Would have made it relatively easy to defend, I think, or at least given Polt a very good chance of defending. Like you said, the tank getting taken out right away, and the fact that Polt wasn't producing any additional tanks just made it relatively easy for Snute to push in, and Polt was probably not accounting for the queens. And that was...
seeing the queens was panic maneuver. Like, if he just had the roaches and Ravagers, he could technically pull SCVs and just move them around.
Do damage, and but Transfuse is a very powerful tool, and queens will also soak up a lot of damage. So, great job by Snute there. And, Polt not really seeing it coming. So, Snute is going to take a 1-game lead, and the next map will be Dust Towers, which we are already in the lobby for.
I'm excited for this map. It just advocates the 3 base plays, really good mid-game pushes, and really good macro games. Not really prone to cheese. You can't really cheese on this map that hard.
I'll have to wait and see what the map.
Yeah,
looks
maybe
like
they'll.
then.
Yeah, maybe they'll prove me wrong. But so far on these maps in TBC, I think we've had.
Oh, this map.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you don't know the you don't know the map.
I don't know the names of the
Okay.
maps. I know the maps, just not the names. So I have to look at the pictures
Mhm.
when I'm doing my videos.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's okay.
In the bottom hand side of the map, spawning as the blue Terran player from CM Storm, it is Polt.
And spawning in the top position, representing Team Liquid, he's the red Zerg player. Give it up for Liquid Snute.
Give it up.
So on this map, I think Polt is gonna go his standard Reaper build, just his go-to. Get the scouting. He's probably gonna scout 3-hatch. I would say Snoot's gonna go for a 3-hatch. But he has been turning up the Roach build. I don't think he would do it on this map though.
Probably not. It's incredibly hard on this map to apply pressure because of the narrow choke, and also it's a fairly easy map to defend 3 base on because again there is a choke. It is a very wide choke into the third, but it's
Yeah.
not an open area like it is on a lot of maps for the third base. So attacking up a ramp and into a choke is always difficult. So I doubt that. Like you said, I think that we're most likely gonna see a macro game out of these players on this map.
Yeah, and it'll be up to Polt to try to punish and hinder the economy of Snute, especially because you don't want the Zerg player just to get the ultras right away, just because it's a very uncomfortable feeling, because, you know, the Marines don't really do much. I mean, ghosts have been a solution, but are they a reliable one? Because they clump up and they get interrupted easy, so I'm really interested to see how these players of this caliber are gonna play this game out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Fungal will interrupt the ghosts for long enough that your army can take him down a lot of the time. And we saw that Snute was very quick to add infestors when he's going into that macro game. So yesterday against Kellasor, we saw him go for Roach Ravager compositions, then go into infestors and later into ultras. And just great creep spread and defense, setting up static defense with the spores, which is gonna come in handy against a player like Polt, who likes dropping all over the place. So a Reaper opener by Polt. On this particular map, I like sometimes delaying the speed simply because there's usually not going to be more than one Reaper coming out of the Terran player. And that's the main thing that you need speed for as a Zerg player.
Yeah.
We see that Snute stopped mining the gas right after 100, and that's perfectly fine. So his only intent with that is to get speed. And that will allow him, of course, to take his third base. But again, like, since there is one Reaper only coming out of the Terran player, sometimes I like to, instead of getting the speed, getting a faster third so that the Reaper doesn't have an option to deny it anyway. Because the Reapers, like, one Reaper is going to have a really hard time dealing that or dealing much damage, even with slow links out. Just the Queen will shut it down. So
I mean, Snute could have probably predicted this. Polt's been known, like, he's only been going that one Reaper. Like, before when he started playing WCS, he was always known to go always 3 Reapers. Like, always. And then after that build got figured out, he just started going 1 Reaper just for the scouting, just for the comfort zone of being able
there's
to
a
scout
big
your
difference
opponent.
as well between Heart of the Swarm and Legacy of the Void with the Reaper. It's more of a scouting tool here, and that's why they gave it the grenade.
Yeah.
Which, you may have thought, oh, Reapers were already pretty strong. Why do they need a grenade? That's because of how the economy has been sped up. There's usually always an answer already for Reapers. So unless you're committing heavily to them, it's even hard to use that grenade at all.
And he is gonna get the speed timing. This Reaper is probably gonna get taken out. Wow.
Oh, nice mine.
Yeah, that was a pretty good. Is it mine or is it a grenade?
Whatever you want to call it, Taylor.
I'm sorry. But we see actually a pretty quick player.
What is it called? It's a KDA charge.
Okay, I'm
Taylor,
sorry.
actually, if you want to be technical about it. So.
But that is a relatively quick layer, wouldn't you agree? Or I don't actually know layer timings as much as since I'm a Terran player. But Polt is gonna go for that Viking, the famous single Polt Viking to clear out the Overlords, which is gonna pretty much prevent any Nidus play, just because you don't have the Overlords to scout and get that vision for the Nidus. But behind this, he's just going to go into his 3 racks. He's been known to always go into 3 racks before the double E-base, just to get his production going. I actually like doing this a lot, getting your army out.
Yeah.
But
Tank, so Polt playing it very safe. I think that this might be even an over defense against a player like Snute, but he has to be a little bit shaken up in the last game.
Yeah.
And the fact that against Solar, Snute went for aggressive builds every game. So maybe Snute not showing the best confidence in Zerg versus Zerg, or against a player like Solar. Maybe Polt thinks, oh, maybe against me he's gonna do the same thing and try to cheese me every game as we saw the previous game. But no, Snute is a macro-oriented player normally, and he's got to be confident on this map of all maps to try and kick it into high gear for the macro.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see Polt actually going for a Cloak Banshee. Cloak Banshee, clearing out the Overlords with the Vikings. This Banshee is actually going to be pretty much a surprise factor to Snute. He has no way to tell that this is actually Cloak Banshee.
Especially because Snute already saw a tank.
Yeah.
One of the last things that you expect is the turn to be aggressive. So that's the solution for Polt is, I'm going to be contained with a tank. I can't move out with the tank because it's going to be easily taken down if I don't have a higher tank count or a higher marine count to support it. So.
And we see Snute going for that Infestor, the, what's it called? Pathogenic Gland? Pathogenic Gland, sorry. And he did this last time on Dust Towers, and he slowly went to that hive. He's getting those Spore Crawlers, the blind Spore Crawlers. He did that against Kelazur too, so he's pretty much playing, this is probably the standard play in ZBT. But instead of going for the drops, Polt is going to go for that Banshee. Cloak is almost done, and will be able to pick off this Queen if not microed. But the other Queen's going to come and hinder it. And actually getting the creep tumor is actually a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's pretty big. No cancel on that. But yeah, like you said, Snute already ready with the blind sports. He's a very technical player. He pretty much plays Zerg like a lot of people play Terran in the sense that he's very timing based and maybe doesn't rely on scouting as much as he relies on just having a really tight build that accounts for most things.
Yeah.
So personally, I'm the opposite type of player in Zerg matchups. I just feel like Zerg is one of the better races at, adapting and making things happen depending on what your opponent is doing. But, I mean, Snute's approach is working perfectly here because Polt did go for those Banshees.
Oh, wow, those Infestors. Oh, nice, Fungal. Lands it on the healthy Banshee.
Yeah, and in range of the Spore as well. So the next Fungal should be able to take care of this Banshee.
Can he get it? Mom Spaghetti shot, and...
Oh, wow, one Infestor goes down, actually.
But he does clear out the Banshees, which is actually a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I could have gotten one more drone there with proper focus firing. And of course, anyone wondering why is Snute taking this base? That's because the what looks like a natural fourth base has a ledge over it, and ledges heavily favor Terran aggression simply because Terran have medevacs and tanks that can fire
and guns.
And guns, yeah, the mostly ranged units. Where Zerg relies on low ranged units or melee units.
Any unit, biological unit, can target the mineral line from that ledge, which makes it really extremely hard. But we can see a push out from Polt, and it's the same Ravager, Roach, Infestor. Really decent.
Not a great fungal.
Yeah,
actually.
not a great fungal.
But
that
really
is a great fungal.
Yeah, that was a good fungal, but no Ravager shots
if he had a
over.
follow-up Ravager shot, but he's gonna pick off some of the Infestors, and those are pretty expensive units.
Very expensive units indeed. So great push by Polt already, and wow, the reinforcements are already here. Mines are gonna help section off the army alongside the tank. So I wish that Polt maybe leapfrogged his tank a little bit
those medevacs
closer.
You should have boosted those medevacs to get it out of the range. He's lost 3, if I'm correct.
Something like that, and a Widowmine shot going on just one Zergling. Again, I wish he had leapfrogged that tank forward so that he would cover most of the ramp.
Yeah.
And kind of like section off those units a little bit further. But regardless, he's finding damage here. 2 queens for free.
Yeah.
And that's all great for Polt. Right now, he's been trading extremely efficiently. Nearly 600 resources ahead
and he's
of
taking
Snute in the... Wow, and the drop in the main. Polt just pulling Snute apart all over the place, knowing that he wasted so many fungals, first on the Banshees, and then on the armies, which one of them whiffed. So, really good job of Polt, looking at the situation and being like, okay, I'm in a great position. However, Snute is at 158 supply, and he does have his 4th ready. So this game could very easily stabilize as well.
Yeah.
And that's what Snute is going to be looking for. He's also ahead in upgrades, which is going to help him further, but Polt is going to look to snipe this base. I think he should just focus fire the base as he has a 4th already, but he maybe thinks that he has enough to take this army, and that was a big mistake by Polt.
The fungals plus the corrosive bio shot just really capitalized on killing every bio that has been fungled.
Yeah. So basically what Polt did there, he made a decision and said, I can eliminate your army right now and close out the game. But I think the safer choice would have been to take the fourth base from Snute, because he could have definitely taken it down.
And actually like this a lot too.
Yeah, and then even if Polt had lost this army, he would have a 4th to fall back on it, and a clear lead on that regard.
But with Yeah, like you said, and the creep spread, he's actually picking out these creep tumors because...
Snute maybe overextending a little.
Oh, wow,
but
that
what
was
a
a-
Ravager shot, and that's going to turn things around for Snute.
And Polt has to actually get out of there. He has to wait for reinforcements to repush, but the Widow Mines are doing a really good job. I wish he would sort of leapfrog them to the whole ramp. That way any reinforcement units get picked off. But he's picking off these queens, which is actually a pretty big deal because that means essentially the medevacs will never get harmed unless there's a corrosive bile shot. And he sees where the mines are at. Overseer is in place, but because Widow Mine's actually getting pretty okay hits on the roaches and ravagers. And I mean that was a decent fungal too. But yeah, I mean Polt's got a fourth behind this. 3-3 is actually starting for Snute. That's pretty amazing that he's able to do
that's really impressive, especially with all the like the confidence to even do it, because it's a decision in itself. It's not just that, you know, he's applying pressure to me, so it's like it's already hard to go and click, but the decision to make it shows a lot of confidence.
Oh wow, the big stem in, really good splitting. Can't really get an optimal fungal, but the Marauder's actually doing quite a bit of damage. He stopped making medevacs for Liberators, and he's only producing 2 at a time, so maybe throwing a third or a second starport would be great, because he's actually, like, he doesn't really have any medevacs to heal this bio, and he's just going to be slow pushing with these Liberators.
Yeah, I wish that Polt had been able to keep a little bit more of his army here. Snute has been able to stabilize somewhat with fungals, but this could be it. The tank and the Liberators are going to be zoning out, and the Liberators are in a great position, but they're clumped up. Another couple of Ravager shots will do it, and there they go. Is it going to be enough? They take down the Liberators.
But they took out so much.
Yeah, not much left over for Snute. So 11 roaches in production. He's going to have to wait for that if he wants to engage. But no, running the Liberators into Marauders is going to lose another one for free.
Oh,
and all
yeah,
this for
this
might just be lights out. Oh, great fungal. However,
Everything
he has
changed?
he only has one extra one, I believe. So Polt's still not really focusing that fourth. He might be able to get it here, but without medevacs, the stim's going to be dangerous. Great.
Widow Mine hit on the infestors.
No,
Polt
that was
taking out
huge.
the most valuable units of the Zerg at the moment. And he has this follow-up push, and this might just be too much for Snute to handle.
I think so as well. With losing those infestors and the infested Terrans not being able to siege onto the tank basically and cut reinforcements, I think this is just going to be too much and lights out for Snute. Well played, he says. A very methodical picking apart from Polt. He was taking even a 5th base behind that, so just securing a lead in every department. And
those 2 creep tumors that he took out in the very beginning made a huge difference. If
Mm-hmm.
just imagine that fight by having creep spread all over the entire area where they were fighting. It would have been huge.
Yeah.
But the lack of creep spread,
Yeah,
the queens couldn't close in. They couldn't.
would have been scanned eventually, probably.
Yeah,
but
it
that's
would
a
have.
scan that he would have.
Yeah,
had to spend,
exactly. But just imagine that with creep spread, of
Yeah.
course. Like, but really good positioning from Polt. I really did like that push. Taking that 4th from Zerg is just so hard to defend as a Zerg player, especially if you don't have that creep. Just because it's so exposed. And Polt was really smart to bring that tank along. And, I mean, he just played that pretty much how you're supposed to on that map in TVZ.
Yeah, very nice play from Polt. And we're going to head onto Game 3 of this series, the final game, to decide who will be the 3rd place finisher in our tournament. And right after this, of course, it's going to be MC against Solar for the Grand Finals. So that's going to be a best of 5. You can go and bet on esportgaming.com/root. And yeah, any bets entered into the tournament, it's not too late. You can still stand to make some money, or just bet gold if you don't want to spend any money. Also, you will stand to win one of these beautiful Root jerseys by participating in betting in our tournament. So go ahead and make an account. It'll take you a couple of minutes. And yeah, this we're already loading into Orbital Shipyard, so this should be pretty great. A very similar map. I think this is. I think both of these maps are pretty decent for Terran. One of the things about this map is the rocks leading up to the 4th for Terran and Zerg. It's a lot easier for Terran and Protoss compared to Zerg to break those rocks, because again, like we mentioned last game, Zerg mostly has melee units, especially early on, and that makes it so that they have less surface area to surround those rocks and break them down, as well as the rocks having armor. Which makes it particularly difficult for units like Zerglings or Queens that have low DPS to break it. So it's kind of hard to take an early 4th for Zerg without risking a lot.
Now, this map is really good to deny Overlord scouting. Just because if you put all your structures in the middle of the base and you have Marines on the outline of the bases, Overlords can't really Overlord scout. So
But
Polt,
again, like Snute is the type of player that will account for things blindly a lot of
yeah,
times. So,
yeah. Well, you have to if, on a map like this where you can't scout. But Polt's going to do his standard Reaper expansion.
And look at Snute with the first Overlord. Actually, he's gonna go and scout for proxies right away, and I really like that. I mean, a player of Polt's caliber, even in the third game of a match where everything
pull
is on the line,
something out.
he can definitely pull something out. That's how you separate yourself from some of the other best players in the world, right? Like you have to be able and willing to take risks from time to time. And Polt, however, choosing to play it safe, just basically saying, okay, I kind of crushed you that game. Like I can just do the same thing again.
Oh yeah, totally agree.
Snoot's gonna have something to say about that though.
I mean, he go no gas yet from Snute. Oh no,
Yeah,
he is
yeah,
mine.
he's
He went
mine
gas
gas.
first, so
Yeah.
he's probably gonna do the Ravager push. I mean, this is all lining up to where it was before.
I mean, I think he's just gonna get speed, and we'll see how many drones he chooses to keep in the gas, if any. It looks like none. So yeah, not an
Okay,
indicator
so he's
of
just
anything.
doing
really.
it just so he can secure.
So he can secure the third. But again, on a map like this, it's and just as I say that, actually, Polt is committing to more than one Reaper. So this build is actually gonna work out pretty well for Snute. But on a map like this, normally Terrans won't commit to more than a Reaper or maybe
They'll either
two.
go mass Reapers or one Reaper, but I've never seen this build from Polt. He's probably just gonna go 2 Reapers into that reactor, into just pretty much the standard we've seen, like Reaper Helene, and maybe into a Banshee.
Yeah. So just a 2 Reaper opener, and again, like Snute with the very early speed that he has, this is actually gonna backfire a little bit for Polt, because this is the build order advantage that Snute is gonna get by having the early speed. He's gonna be able to chase down and the double Reaper investment, and not just an investment in economy, but also the production of that barracks. He has to delay a reactor or delay a tech lab onto the barracks in order to get the second Reaper, and it's just really not gonna pay off. Snute already with 12 links out, and he has speed extremely early by going the gas first build, so he's gonna catch this really early, and we see why he was going for that gas first build. He wants to deny scouting information so that he can go for the Ravager push that we were talking about. So really well done by Snute, and maybe seeing this links will tell something to Polt. I think that Snute pulled the same build off against Kelazur.
Yep.
So this time around, of course, having to make more links because there are 2 Reapers out. But Polt smartly utilizing the map is gonna keep those links or those Reapers out in the map so that he can see what Snute plans as a follow-up.
And I think he does smell it. He is getting a 3rd CC, but
And a tank,
yeah, he's getting a tank. He's getting that Viking for the Overlords, just in case if it was a Nidus play. But Polt,
Well, it's like, again, it's also gonna deny Overlords from providing the Ravagers a clear shot onto the tank on the high ground.
exactly. He has to go up the ramp for it. So really good job from Polt identifying what it could be, and pretty much he's ahead. I would say he's significantly ahead. Well, it'll have to come down to the execution of Snute.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think either player is ahead right now. It's just build order choices, right? So like, Polt is
Already
definitely
getting his tank,
identified.
though.
Yeah, like that's big, but he also dropped the 3rd CC, which is pretty much what Snute would want here, right? Now Snute actually deciding, maybe upon seeing that tank, that he's not gonna commit to the Roach Ravager push, and now he's dropping a 3rd and droning up instead. So good adapting by Snute there, deciding you're already in a defensive position. You've already invested into double Reaper to begin with, so your production's already slower, and then you made a tank, so you don't really have an option to be aggressive, but you'll be relatively safe. So instead, Snute going for the fast 3rd and the drones. I really like it. Again, adapting, and that's one of the things that Cirque can do fairly easily because of how our production
And we
works.
do see that Cloak Banshee again. It worked so well for him last time that he might go. He's just gonna probably do it again, get the scouting, and he actually has a pretty big infrastructure going on. He's got 2 more. He's got 5 barracks and double eBay. With that tank there, he's gonna be able to secure his 3rd, which he's landing it right now. But this is where Polt, I would say, excels, is the mid game. And the Cloak Banshee's just gonna be able to pick off these Ravagers, and they're actually kind of out in nowhere land. Like, they're pretty exposed.
Yeah, but the Cloak Banshee is actually not gonna see them at all, so it's not gonna matter too much, and Snute might be able to do some counter
Sees it
pressure.
now, and
Oh, a little bit of
gotta lead the shot.
miscalculation there by Snute, but not a huge deal. That's already pretty hard to hit. So the Ravagers are forced to pull back, as Snute might know that there is a Banshee out, and the Ravagers have been spotted from the Vikings. So that's gonna mean that he has to pull his entire army back. Where maybe if Polt had committed with the Banshees onto Snute's side of the map, he could have gone for a counter attack onto the third with those 4 or 5 Ravagers and the amount of links that he had.
Now, we can see there's an Overlord that still hasn't been taken out by the Viking, which is kind of actually surprising. Snute going for this, like, if the layer goes down, you think he's going to go for Spy or he's going to go for...
He could go Nidus.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was thinking Nidus.
especially in a map like this where the third is so, like, it's so tucked in. It's not hard to go for a Nidus over there and try to make something else happen. But Snute doesn't want to risk it. The only base that didn't have a Spore is where Polt is going to find some damage, so a little bit unfortunate for Snute there. He has so much anti-air, but a Spore in the main is not going to be enough either. Polt is just going to focus fire the drones and the gas and take a pretty good lead here.
Yeah.
Really well done by him. Now, of course, that's not game defining or anything like that, and the Banshees are doing damage a little bit later than they would have liked to, but if he can pick up this 4th, and I think he can, it's going to be huge.
Yeah, and the Banshees
nice
is picking away
Ravager
at the Ravagers. There's no Overseer yet. It's just slowly coming with no Overlord speed.
There will be no Ravager shots for this next poke, and with that, Polt is going to shut down Snute's 4th base, which was his one advantage, you could say.
Yeah. Because upgrade-wise, Polt's already starting 2-2. Snute doesn't even have 1-1 finish, but he's going for that passaging lands with the Infestors to come out.
No, my question is, do you think that Polt will make a 4th CC, or is he just going to float over his...
He might make a 4th CC.
It seems a little late to start a 4th CC, is it?
Honestly, I think he's going to do a strong push and then build the 4th CC on the low ground like he did before.
All right.
And
so that's what we'll be expecting here from Polt.
But yeah, adding on 3 more barracks. He's actually in a very aggressive stance over by the 4th base of Snute. He has the Banshees to check and see if it's building or not. Doesn't lose the Banshee. Very good job. Should take those back and repair them, but he does scout this 4th too. So Snute playing really greedy, and that base isn't going to pay for itself. He's got to cancel that.
Polt has a very slim timing before Infestors pop up, though. And Snute, with this many Ravagers, will be able to buy himself time for the Infestors to get in position and potentially get a huge fungal. Oh, is he going to get it? The fungal. Let's look at the army of Polt. No, it didn't. It whiffed. So the Infestor died. That could have been gigantic. And now revealing the Infestors and not getting anything done with them is going to make Polt very aware that they're out. And, he's going to be far less likely to be caught.
Really good job from Snute. Seeing the Widow Mines, throwing down the Biles on it.
Yep.
But Polt is going to go for a counterattack. And this is one of the disadvantages by going Roach Ravagers, that it's not really mobile versus the medevac. The dropship
you're
can just go
extremely
everywhere.
mobile. And this is what I was talking about before. Polt is so good at pulling his opponent apart, and he has basically three
Oh wow,
places
this
where
is
he's
actually
attacking
huge.
at
He's
once.
going to
Gigantic.
both Evo Chambers and the Infestation Pit.
Oh
And
my
he's probably
God.
just going to get out of there while also hitting the 4th, pulling Snute apart. He had to cancel that double expansion that he was doing, and look at that. He's just pulling out, and he's just going to hide in the corner, and he's going to take a 4th.
Yeah, and this is actually gonna potentially put Snute in an all-in position, because heading into the late game without, where he's gonna be disadvantaged by not having a hive and not having the upgrade lead. Like, if Polt ever gets his 3-3 going, I don't know what Snute is gonna do. So maybe Snute just has to commit to making as many units as possible and try to go for a killing blow as soon as possible before the extra upgrades from Polt, like the 3-3 gets started and eventually
I mean, it's
kicks in.
already 2-2 versus 1-1.
Yeah.
Because sniping those Evo Chambers was absolutely huge, because 2-2 versus 1-1. Oh, well,
Oh,
this
that's
is really
big.
nice.
That's big, and
wow,
that might make it so that Snute is able to make something happen.
But
There's
this
still
is,
one fungal available. Polt has to be really careful on the retreat, as on the retreat, Terran units will clump up. But the fungal whiffs now a lot more roaches for Snute here, and I think that this is a little bit of an overextension by Polt at this point in time. But he probably
He does have
just wants to-
reinforcements coming across the map. This is a really big trade push for him.
Yeah, he really just wants to keep Snute on his side of the map, because he knows that the longer this game goes, he's gonna have the greater advantage just by having those extra upgrades, and now the better economy as soon as he picks this off. So Polt doing a fantastic job of picking Snute apart here, and it looks like he's in a great position to take this game.
Yeah. It's everything's going to Polt's favor right now. That's
GG.
call.
What a game by Polt.
Yeah, really solid.
Really well done. Not getting those Banshees picked off was so huge too, because they actually picked off the other base by themselves. Yeah, so really, really well done. And with that, we only have one series left to close out the tournament. And it's going to be quite the series between Solar and MC. A best of 5 coming up. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.